Day 162. I took this video for 14 minutes to tell you what's going on and all my results, and my phone failed. So I'm sorry. I'm now gonna make a more shorter and quick video because I'm not in a mood explaining everything else again. So what's happening health-wise? I can tell you that I've been now with around about 30 doctors, to more than 30 actually. The best of the best, different kind of things. I checked everything 3 times. Blood works, MRI, whole body, gastroscopy, endoscopy, biopsies. I did all the classic things with orthopedic, gynecology, women's doctor, back doctor. I'm not sure how to pronounce these things in English. Internist, I had 3 different opinions on that with all the organs. I had 2 different kind of family doctors who checked me out. I had physiotherapists who checked me out, and I think that's that. So around about 30 to 40 doctors I had in the last couple of months to check me out, because I didn't want the MS to be the reason for basically everything that I'm having, or every issue that I'm having, and also the left side pain that is growing towards my chest and my breast and these kind of things. I was scared that it comes from the kidneys or the pancreas. Some results showed some direction into diabetes A. That was the first results that came back, because my grandfather died from diabetes A. I then got a little bit, uneasy with that kind of things. But they now figured out it's not that. It's like just the indicators of pre-diabetes, they are a little bit there, but it's nothing that really has any kind of impact, and they are all not concerned about it. So I do have a lot of opinions on that, so I'm fine with that. So diabetes is off the table. My kidneys, my pancreas, my spleen, and my liver, they checked now on MRI with contrast, the MRI whole body without the contrast. All the doctors from my dad all over the world checked the pictures, because he's a diplomat, so he sent these pictures to a lot of people who have a lot of opinions. So that's why I was like, the last 2 weeks was so freaking intense, or 3 weeks actually. It was just too much, so much happening at work, and then all my health things came back in little drops, and every time it was something different, and then everybody had so many opinions on that and what to do next and so on. So it was so damn exhausting, and I started to being angry with everybody. So that's why I then got back in my little cocoon. I had my apartment here booked and just got to work, got back, and I was like getting a little bit into this cocoon, and I was starting to being really depressed about that because it was just too much information. Then the whole Trump shooting and these kind of things started, which had triggered some things, because I was in a situation like that. I've been into a amok driver. I saw a kid dying in front of me. So all these things triggered a lot of emotions with my whole situation, and that was like, I was in a very dark place the last 2 weeks, I have to say. So I had to deal with a lot of things, and I had to find my strength also again, and also that I was like taking a break from trying to take a break from everything. So the most important part for me was that the organ and the kidney, I was so focused on the kidneys because a lot of things happen. So I was focused on the kidneys. I will share as soon as I can all my my results, just for people to see what I tested, how this looks like, how good, how bad things look like. I want to share it on my ivywolf.com blog at some point, and I will tell you when I'm sharing that, so you really can see the results black and white also for yourself, and just have to figure out how to do that without me sharing my personal data, but enough to people also just can a little bit inform themselves how these things look like, how much they cost, and where did I get it, and you know, all these kind of things, because I think that can help maybe some of you also to then figure out what's wrong with you if you have some issues and you just can't figure out what it is. So that kidney part and this was very important to me. They checked also, a lot of them checked also my breast part with the implants. They said everything is fine, nothing has an eruption, but I know from experience and seeing what Yolanda Hadid went through, I know that they have been mistaken with her, and she has millions and millions, and she had access to the best of the best, and her implant did break, and nobody did realize that, because only one healer who did realize it at the time. And that's always in the back of my mind, you know. So at some point I just want them removed, but a removal will, they're now for 15 years in. I was stupid, and I really cannot recommend nobody to do anything to the body. Really, you will be maybe happy 10 years, but after it will be fall off it up. So at that point, I want to take them out, but I don't know the proper doctors for that. We are just checking now with a lot of people, the doctors, but every kind of surgery is a danger for me because of my MS, and it can bring me like totally back to the wheelchair and no way out. It can be that dramatic because of the stress that the body is going through into a surgery, and that's what a lot of people experience after a surgery with MS. So it's like, you know, what's more important, because it's that part still growing in that direction. And so let's just not get too much into it, because I have to check that out. But so from these 30-40 doctors, all agreed, all of them, the eye, for the women's doctor, the orthoped, the internist, all of them, the family doctors, absolutely all of them, even me being at some of them, which I know are open to alternative ideas and are not focused on medicine and don't want to give you like medication. They're having completely different approaches. They all agreed on that my MS is spreading, growing, and that they give me a couple of months or a couple of years and I will completely disabled. And all the pictures are showing it in an MRI. And yeah, so that was what I was fighting against. But some different things I'm gonna tell you until I don't know where to start. But my dad gave me the number of a guy where some of the diplomats went get to this guy, and also the president of my country where I'm living at is being treated by this guy. So we got a contact to this. He's an alternative healer. I don't know what exactly he's doing. He's having some kind of methods and also things that show stuff which it's so difficult, because in my language I'm also a little bit hard of understanding all the medical stuff, but he's seeing with these things he's having with these machines, he sees when something is not already out. So he explained it like you have a tree and you don't see the, I don't know the English word which is down. You can't see that on the pictures, but you see when it's out already. And his machines and these kind of things that he's doing, it sees in the deep, so it sees when something is starting to grow, which sometimes people feel faster than you see in the pictures. And he's coming actually here on Monday or Tuesday, because they organized me an appointment with him and he will come here. And I talked to him, and he was the only person now, which in the beginning I was so skeptical, because I'm not in this homeopathic, energetic, I'm really spiritual. I believe in a lot of things and I'm very open to everything. And also one of the best doctors that helped me was hypnosis. So I do believe in a lot of things, and I'm also, you know, going to church. I believe in God, so I'm very open to a lot of things. But every kind of these people that my dad likes to go to as well, because he also went through hell in the medical field. He was actually dying. He should be dead already for 20 years now, and he made himself not die because he was everywhere. And he found for him some people that helped him, which are not doctors in the end, but also some doctors. So it's not always every doctor and all of the medications. Oh no. You just need to be lucky. You just need to be lucky to find a real person that will take the time, will check you and so on. So they organized me this guy, and when I talked to him, and that's, I honestly, I just want to cry because I believe so much in that God has a plan for me. I believe that so much because everything that happened after one another situation, that was so crazy, because that was like, it has to be that way. It has to I had to go through this to get to the point where I got yesterday. So to explain what's happening, so I'm trying not to be very confusing, but it's just happened a lot of things. So this guy will come on Monday and Tuesday, and after talking to him, he was the first person, and that was throwing me off at the beginning. He was the first person that I explained my pain, and he said, "Oh, how long do you stay here?" And I say, "Yeah, we just changed." So that's the point. We should already be in Croatia, but we changed dates just from a instinct of mine, and I don't know what it was. And I said, "We need more time here. I can't explain it. I think we need more time. I think we need to stay a week longer here at my grandfather." So we changed every date and stayed here. So I told him I'm going to stay a week longer and so on. And he said, "Yeah, it's perfect." He was planning to come on Monday or Tuesday here, and he will fix me. That's what he said. "We're going to fix that. Don't worry." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I guarantee you, after 30 to 40 minutes, I know what you have, and we're going to fix that." And to hear I can't even explain you, no matter if he's then maybe a fraud or not, I don't believe that, but maybe he is. I'm still a skeptical person. But even somebody saying that, after all the troubles and all the doctors looking at me like, "We don't know what you have. It's probably the MS. We don't know what you have. It's probably the MS." And hearing that over and over and over again, that was, it was just a little bit of a different moment. And so that's going to be happening on Monday or Tuesday. That's the guru I was telling you about. So, but I wouldn't be that open to him when the stuff yesterday didn't happen. So back to what happened yesterday. The people I was at a co-working space, they talked about it is internist and everybody knew them. So then I talked to my mom and to my dad and to my family, and they all knew them, and all the people there knew them. And my family is a lot in politics, so all their people knew this guy. So they were like, "Oh my god, yeah, he's the best of the best. He's like Dr. House. He is an asshole. You have to have a thick skin being there, but when he says this is what it is, then this is what it is. And you can go to every doctor. They all will then check you out, and they will confirm that at some point." So I was putting all my hope into this doctor. I wanted just to be sure, to be honest, about my inner organs and the kidney parts, because I was focusing on a kidney parts, and I was scared that my kidney is failing or something like that, or my pancreas. That was like something that I was scared the most. And that's why I was looking forward to it. So the people in my family moved the world for me to get an appointment with this guy, which is impossible to get. You get it in October, maybe, or next year. It's like this kind of maybe. So at the same time, my dad organized people who got his private number to call him. At the same time, my mom organized a friend who knew a guy who was living next to this guy, and he, with his over 60 years, got to this doctor and was waiting for hours there in the praxis to talk to him about giving me an appointment. A person that never met me in my, I can't even explain that never met me in my life, went with over 60 years to wait at this doctor's to talk to him to give me an appointment. That's sometimes the beauty, and people can be amazing. So he, at the same time, and my uncle, he's also working with a lot of politicians, he at the same time called everybody to get to this guy. And at the same time, everybody called me back. And my dad said, we got you an appointment on Friday at 2. My mom's friend called me and said, oh yeah, he was just talking to the doctor and he said you got at this point the appointment at the same time they were calling. My uncle called my mom and said, oh, the doctor is going to call you back, but he said you already got the appointment. So all of them at the same time got me this appointment. So it is that was, and that's the it's, for me, sometimes it's not even about my health issues. It's about, you see, when you're sick, when you're in pain, who's there for you and who will move the world for you to help. And before that happened, my dad started going into this direction with this energy healer, and I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that at the point. And also a friend of mine started going into this, yeah, you need to be more strict, you need to go completely just beef, salt, water, because that you're not doing it right, you're doing carnivore not right, and you need to do that, and you need to do it for 6 months, and then you will see the results and everything, and fasting and longer fasting and so on, just water fasts or these kind of things. And I was just not ready to hear my dad. I wasn't ready to hear my friend. And I was so angry. I was so angry with the world. I was angry with everything, you know, also with the Trump shooting and everything. Everything happens at the same time, and I was just angry. I was just a very, very angry person. And I couldn't get out of my skin. So that's why I bunkered myself, got depressed. And at that point, well, because I didn't know how to get myself out of this situation just for 3 days maybe. But I knew myself, I always get out of this situation, but sometimes it takes a little bit more time. But it was just too much of everything. And me also realizing that I'm starting to be angry of the people that are trying to help me. And I was like the worst. Oh, you feel so bad when this happens because you can't get out of your skin and you just want to yell at everybody that want to help. And that's like the worst situation you can imagine, because it's not even the pain that's making things worse. It's about you not being yourself because you can't control it. And that was the really bad thing at the time. So I got this appointment with this doctor. And then hell started. We got there. I was so excited. I was nervous. It was like I felt like I'm going to an exam. I never had that. I don't know why. Something about the energy of the room. Something about, I don't know what it was, but I just felt I will have, you know, to do something like an exam. So sorry. And then hell broke loose, because I can't even explain it in words what was going on, because you had to be present to experience this situation. I went in, I was sitting there quietly because the doctor and his assistant were talking to each other, and something about the assistant was throwing me off. I don't know what it was. It was his energy, his way he was acting, even me just put it to call me in. I had some red flags raising in my head. So with the doctor itself, I had a feeling that he even looked like Dr. House. Really, I had the feeling, I saw it in his eyes. He was competent, and I can judge people very well. And they were standing and they were talking about another patient. They were writing down still the results from the other patient. So I was sitting there quietly, and then suddenly the doctor went away, and the young assistant of his, and I didn't know if maybe it's his son or if he's just another doctor that's working there and that's doing his, or it is really just an assistant doctor, or I had no clue what the guy was there for. And outside there was a receptionist, and she was really nice, but this guy was giving me red flags. So I was sitting there, and he was like, okay, yeah, that's your name. What's the name of your father? How old are you? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't know why they ask about the name of the father, but maybe it's a Balkan thing, so I don't question that. It's they have different kind of things also with the medical care. It's, if you come from a European version of doctors, you would not believe what's happening here. So don't prejudge the situation also that I'm telling you, because that's how they act. That's just a cultural thing. And it might throw you a little bit off, but that's really like most of the doctors act like that. So it's not just them, but that was like a really extreme situation. And then he said, you know, what are you doing for work? And I said, I'm an IT manager and so on. That was the information he had. I didn't told him about my MS. I didn't told him about my disc prolapse. I didn't talk to him about anything. I said, I have all my lab tests here. I have all my whole body MRI. I have everything here, so I can give it to you. And so, see, he just took it. He didn't even look at it. And then he said, you know, why are you here? Why are you coming that far just to be here? Because he knew my address and so on. And I just started and I said, my pain started here and it's now moving. That's everything I said. I didn't say even more. And he said, I know what you have. And I said, excuse me? I know what you have. It's just your back. Everybody has that. Everybody has that. Even I have that. You know, this pain is all, that's nothing tragic. Believe me, I know what you have. And he was talking so fast, I can't even replicate that because he was talking. He didn't stop talking about how he knows what I have and that I have to chill down. I didn't do anything. I was just sitting there like that. And I was just saying, you know, I had my pain started here. That was everything I said. I didn't cry. I didn't do anything. He said, yeah, I need to calm myself down. I have to just look at the positive ways because that's what I'm having. And he knows that, he knows that, he knows that. And my anger, you can't even imagine that. My mom was sitting across from me and my mom was seeing it. And I saw that my mom is cooking. I was cooking from the inside. And normally I am a person that gets up and tells him to shut the fuck up. But in this situation, I was so desperately in need for the doctor to come in that I was scared that this is his son. That was my first thought. And if I piss this guy off and I react like I want to react, which was really bad, that the situation will escalate completely and they're gonna throw me out. And then all the people who also called this guy to get the appointment will have a really bad, you know, reputation, or, you know, they will call him and they will be angry with my dad or my mom or all the people that, you know, organized that. So I tried to put my anger in, and I was sitting there really quietly and you saw it in my face. I was like that. How can you not see that? How can you not see that me doing this and sitting there and not saying anything? And he was going on, it didn't stop. And I said, it is not my back, and if it is, I want the doctor to tell me that, because that's why I'm here, to listen to him. And then he said, yeah, but you shouldn't put your hope into that he will just heal you. But I am telling you, that's your back, and that's nothing major. Everybody has that, you know, in this kind. And you have to be stronger than that. You have to be stronger than that. And to make like this drama out of this situation. That's what he said. I didn't say a word. Besides what I've just told you. My pain started here and went to, that was the conversation we had. And I said, I'm an IT manager. That's my name. That's my address. That's the name of my father. And that's that. That's that. And from this information, this guy was going on and on and on and didn't stop talking. And then my mom got involved and she said, you know, we went to a lot of doctors and we saw a lot of people, and that's not what. And then he stopped her where she tried to be nice and explain the situation. Yeah, but you know, I can tell you, we all know that that's what everybody's coming here and then blah 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 and talking about our patient. It was I can't, you should have been present. There was. So then the receptionist came in. She saw me. I just looked at her because she saw me smiling outside and I was fine and I was with my son. And she just looked at me and I was like, just because he was still going on and on and on. And I was just to her. That was the only thing that I did, you know. And then I looked at him and then I looked at her. And she saw that the situation is really close to escalate completely. And then she went to him and she tried to, you know, focus on that. And she tried to a little bit keep his mind off. And suddenly he asked me, do you have a boyfriend? And I did not know how to respond to that in that moment. And I looked at him and I said, no, I don't have a boyfriend. And then he said, you need to have one so your pain will get better. So, on the other side, you need to know that Balkan men, that's their baseline. It doesn't matter on which doctor you are, or which boss you are, which office you are, That's the baseline of Balkan man here. It's really one, do you have a boyfriend? You need one because it's gonna make your life easier. And they're making jokes out of it. It's not like this serious thing they're putting girls into corner. Not at all. It's really more of their humor and their, you know, joking around like that. But I was like the most, him seeing that I'm not engaging with him in any kind of way, and that I'm really, my nostrils, or how do you say that, are blowing up. Then I looked at him, and the receptionist was still standing there. I looked at him, and he said, yeah, I said, that's not it. That was the only thing that I could really put myself to talk like that. And he was looking at me, you know, yeah, and looking at my mom also, and said, you know, I'm trying to make the situation a little bit more, you know, easygoing and so she will smile. And so, and I looked at him and I said, do you see me smiling? You don't. You are frustrating me. So stop it. I want to see the doctor. And then he stopped a little bit, just a little bit. He still didn't stop talking, but his energy changed a little bit because he's starting to realize what's going on. And then he said, yeah, I don't know how this came up. No, it came later. So then the doctor walked in. The situation was just insane. Then the doctor walked in, and this guy was briefing him. And I had to listen to this fucking briefing. The first thing he said, you know, she said IT manager, so sitting a lot, you know, back. And then the doctor said, yeah, it's probably her back. It was the same situation. Not looking at they didn't even look at all my results, at all the lab tests, at all the MRIs, at what I'm having, what I'm not having. They didn't look at it. And he was like, yeah, probably the back. I was losing it. The whole anger that I put into myself burst into tears. Just really, just very, how do you say that? Not noisy tears. It was just dropping, you know. I was just staring in front of me and listening to this asshole explaining my situation. And the doctor was first arrogant, being this Dr. House situation, but then he saw me, and I think one thing that I can tell you, what I can see in people, it's when they can read people. And this doctor could read people, and he saw in my eyes that something is different. And he came to me, and not about the situation or me being then, you know, crying, but the way he was looking at me, you cannot explain that. You need to experience that. And he sat down, he looked at me, and he said, tell me it. What else is going on? And I said, since 2019 I'm having MS, but this pain is not MS, and everybody's putting it into MS. It's not MS. Then he said, you know, do you take any medications? And I said, no, since March I don't, because the medication was causing me a lot of troubles. And I was constantly being sick, and it's not life. And that's why we stopped. And the only thing, because I have some antibodies for all the medication, the only thing that I'm left with is Ocrevus. He said, I don't know anything about neurology, that part, so I can't give you any advice on that. I can give you just the number, and the woman who was herself is doctor for MS and has MS now for a year. She got MS, so she maybe will understand best your situation. But what I can check is your organs, and I'm gonna ensure you that they are okay. Just by looking at you, I know that they are okay. So he started looking at my organs and checked everything with the ultrasound and so on and so on. And everything was fine. He said, you don't have to look into your gut anymore because that's completely normal and everything is fine. And you don't have to look into the diabetes part. The results are fine. Pancreas fine, kidney fine, spleen fine. And then he looked at me, took me like that. He looked at me deep in the eyes. It was like one of the hard, I can't even explain that. It is somebody's looking into your soul. I don't know if you ever had this moment. That was his you know that instant, looking in his eyes, that this guy just knows and why he has the reputation he has. I saw it in his eyes in seconds. And he was like, listen to me, you're not gonna want to hear that, but I'm gonna tell you that. I know a guy that was driving, had MS, did take the medication and everything, and didn't fix it. He was driving, and his legs suddenly stopped moving, which happened also to me in 2019. And he couldn't press the bar when you stop the car, brakes. And since then, he is completely crippled and in a wheelchair. And when you move on like that, or people move with not medication and these kind of things, you will hit the kid. Your legs might be suddenly not working, because that's what MS is. They were suddenly maybe not working in a worse situation that you have, and then maybe you will hit the kid or something else. And he was saying that very calmly and in this kind of way, and I knew where he's coming from. I went through that. I went through a lot of doctors with the same expression and everything, and it's like over and over and over again. And he said, I don't know what you have, and I'm not a neurologist, and I cannot tell you that, but you need to go and to a neurologist and take the right steps. That's the only thing I can tell you. I can tell you that everything in your body is working fine. And all the pain that you're expressing and having that might come, probably are coming from the nerve system. And yeah, he was then in the end also making a joke to my mom and said, she needs to find when you have a boyfriend, the boyfriend's mom, I don't know what the English word for that is. That's what I'm saying, they all make the same jokes. I went out. I never was more pissed in my life, because also the assistant doctor changed his whole thing when he knew that I have MS. Then his whole situation changed, because his stupid "it's your back" situation just backfired, and he was very, very quiet after. Very, very quiet. Little stupid ass. And as I said, you need to be part in this intense situation, being nervous, just having hope that they will just find something and say it's kidney stones. That was my hope. We can remove them or drink that, and that's fine. That's what's causing it. That was my biggest hope, to be honest. Or just, say whatever, One friend of mine just had some canals crossing, them being like that was causing the pain, and she fixed it with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of lemon in the morning. So I was really hoping for these kind of answers, and then having been confronted in this situation with such a stupid asshole, like this young assistant, that was like devastating. And then being already in this intense situation, and that was also the part when I gave birth to my son, and I was actually died. It was over and over and over, and putting myself into this situation. So we sit in the car. I had a breakdown. My mom and my son were in the car. I couldn't stop crying, and I said, you know what? I know that all people are right. I know that it's a mess. I know it. I just don't want to know it. I really hoped it's something else. I need it to be something else. Something that is more fixable than with a drug that will cause me tumors and cancer. And I will be scared for the rest of my life with every pain, like right now, that every pain can be so much more than I think. That every little headache, I will always think that it can be a tumor now from the medication. That will be the rest of my life. Or I'm gonna end up crippled and in a wheelchair, and that was never an issue for me, because that's a much better option for me to understand me, how I'm thinking. I'm rather crippled and in a wheelchair than take medication that puts me in the situation that I'm scared for the rest of my life for every little pain I'm having, that it's much more, and that I have done chemo and all these things have to be done additionally just because I took some medication that should help. That's what's went through my mind. And the thing is that's why when people say, you have such a big reason to go completely beef salt water, do it strict, do 6 months, just that. Even me being carnivore, that's what people don't understand. That's like the biggest step I did now for over 160 days, to change my diet from veganism, veganism and American diet, having all the time chocolate bars every day at some point, and vegan food because I liked it and I hated meat, from this situation to 160 days being carnivore with slips, of course, with a lot of slips, but still 70 to 80% being strict carnivore. As a carnivore is less a fair carnivore version, and everybody wanting for me to, and me eating 10 times a day, and everybody is expecting of me to be a superhuman, to suddenly go fast for days, fast 11 days. Where's the problem? It's so easy. You have such a great motivation. Don't eat sugar, don't eat that, don't eat your protein cookies. I didn't eat sugar, but protein cookies, and don't touch the carbs, and for even not for one day because that's bad, and don't even take the milk and the goat cheese and the dairy because that's also bad. Everything is bad. And no, pork is inflammatory, don't take that as well. And oh my god, don't forget about the fruits are bad. So you cannot go from 1000% to zero from in 160 days. So that's why I said some people may be that strong, but I was never that strong of a person to fight this kind of addiction, because it was not motivating enough. What changed at the point was listening to them, having the opinion that comes from them, as the only thing in the car when I broke down that changed is me realizing that the MS is not just sitting in a damn wheelchair or just not being able to move my hands anymore, which I wasn't scared of, because this is not something that's in my head, was not something that will cause me pain. It will just be a discomfort situation because I can't move or can't move my hands. That would be a little bit bad, but it's not a pain. And me realizing now that my pain is growing, and it's insanity, so hurtful. It's getting from 7 every day to 8, then to 9, 10. It will just waves. And my body failing me completely from A to Z. Everything is just failing. Just sometimes it's the head, sometimes it's the leg, sometimes it's just in severe pain in the hips on this one. So it's just, my nerve system is just breaking down. So that situation changed when my brain realized that changed, because I didn't have that before. So that's that part. The other part was for me being more open to the Monday, Tuesday meeting with this alternative doctor, because all the doctors failed me, not from the perspective from the diagnosed perspective, because he just confirmed everything which was showing in MRI and the lab tests and other doctors. So it was just my 5th opinion on that. It was my 5th opinion on the internist parts or the organs. So it was just me seeing it also, and me realizing that I have to be open to everything that is different than that's different than this hell that I'm going through every day, and looking at these doctors at me, all this, putting me in a situation that I will kill a kid if I don't get the proper. He never said take the meds. He just said you need to heal that. You not to heal, to take actions on that. That's like what he said, if I translated it a little bit. So, and that's the point. I did take actions with me going carnivore. It's what people say, don't go from American diet to carnivore, go from American diet to keto and ease it out and take your time. That's the problem. People have time. Most people have time. They don't have that issues like I do, because they're prognosing me like everything is getting worse and worse and worse and worse every day. And I can feel that, I can experience that. Some days are okay, some days are horrible, and so on. So I got to the point where that's the realization you need to have. I don't have that time like other people. I don't have it. My time is down. There is no time left. it's a time for action now in one direction or the other. So if I fail to fast, to go beef, salt, lamb, ruminant animals, salt water situation, and fast as much as I can, if I fail that now, and if I cannot that be strict for at least, let's say 3 months, 6 months, and then see results, I need to go and take the medication, because if I don't do that, it's gonna be over. It's gonna be over. My body is just gonna quit me, and I can feel that because it's progressing and progressing and progressing. So I'm now at the point where you say you are at the bottom, knowing that, still hoping that Monday, Tuesday, maybe he will fix something that maybe changed it, because I'm open to it, and you need to be open to these kind of situations. So I'm very open to him. And sorry, and so I realized one thing. I hope you can hear me, because there are some people doing something. When I had this whole situation, I got back to my house. I packed all my stuff. I said, let's quit the apartment. Well, let's go all be together at my grandfather's, which is sometimes really exhausting, because too many people, too many screaming, you know, a lot of generations in one house, in one apartment. And then we packed my things. We packed it into the car. And my mom said, would you like to visit our friend, you know? And we got there, and her son is the same age as I am, and he's exactly like I am. We are like twins. Everything we're doing, everything we're thinking, everything about our person is exactly the same. He was also doing carnivore. He did 3 months completely beef, salt, and water, and he just lost it and couldn't see meat anymore. And so he had this meat aversion. So I had like my future in front of me, because we are really like the same person. It's insane. And we were sitting there and talking, and my mom and her friend and I, and something about talking, and he was talking about monks, and you know, this where she was, and we're gonna go there on Sunday, and how they lived, and how this atmosphere was, and a lot of things. So I'm not gonna talk about it, because I'm not babbling for 40 minutes, but I had moments there of epiphanies that I never had in my life. It was like God was leading me there. And before I went to the doctors from the internet, I got into the church, because I said to my mom, I just need the atmosphere of the church. I got into the church, and I just said, God, give me answers. That was the only thing I said. Oh, God, give me answers today. I need answers. I really need them. And when I went then to my friend, and we started talking, and I started explaining things, because why her son is acting like that, because I do understand him, because I'm acting the same, and you know, we're back and forth. And at some point, me explaining her why he's acting that way, I realized that that's my biggest problem. And I'm not going to talk about it, because it's just going to be done for hours, but I'm going to talk about it when I have my thoughts collected. So I realized the first time what my actual problem is with a lot of things. So I had this epiphany moment, that I had this aha moment where I know where to go from here. So I stopped eating at 11 o'clock yesterday. So it's 24 hours now. I'm trying as much to fast as much as possible, because for me, fasting is now, since I'm carnivore, easier than eating beef, salt, and water, because as soon as I eat, even beef, I'm starting to crave after, even if I'm full, and the fat and everything, and I'm eating like really a lot of meat and fat, I'm starting to crave something sweet, because it's a habit, it's triggering, and so on. So I'm gonna try that also with my hypnotherapist to get rid of that, but I'm trying now to fast as much as I can, just to see how it all goes. And tomorrow we're gonna go to another church. Usually we go to Catholic church, and they're Orthodox, and I just wanted to see how it is. I just wanted to experience different kind of people believe. It's more about not the churches itself, or you know, these kind of things. It's more about seeing people hoping for something, believing in something that's bigger than we are. And that's what's giving me always hope, you know, believing in something that's bigger than I. It's giving me always hope and strength to know that everything that happens in my life comes to the point where it's really important that I have to be at the time at this place. And I had to be at the time to have this shithole of an ass talking to me like that, to get off to the bottom, really to the bottom in the car, and then to get myself up. That was the bottom. If you think in my last videos where I cried, that was the bottom. Oh, no. That doctor was the bottom. And that I needed, because that was my personal wake-up call. And then to have these moments just triggering one situation after another, even having this talk and having these moments where I had, you know, came here to my grandfather's and knew exactly what to do next, and had peace. I had peace. My brain stopped going crazy. And me having this action plan helps. But as I said, I am not one of the people. I am a highly addicted person, emotionally addicted to food. And food is different. And we talked about that. And I'm going to tell you about this conversation. It's going to be extremely interesting the next time when I can talk a little bit longer. But it's going to be very interesting because it's a different view on all the things when it comes to food, and why some people are easier with that and some are not. And it opened my eyes to just talking to another generation and to other generations, to people about that. It was insane, because then everything clicked in my head, also for myself, and I understood some things better. So I hope I won't forget that to talk about with you, but that helped me. And today, it's now over 24 hours that I fasted. I went with my mom to the gym, which is across my grandfather's home. And I felt so good after, again, having a little bit more of a weight training and having a lot of pain. So I had a lot of pain, even taking the easiest weights. And my mom also, same thing with her osteoporosis. It got very much better since we're carnivore, but she still has issues with her hips, because that's where the most problems are, in her hands. So I know a lot about weight training now, so I you know, take her and we do it together, and also about the physiotherapist trainings, because I went through hundreds of them. So that's what we're doing right now, and focusing on the good parts. So I talk now way longer than I wanted to. So we're gonna go take an hour walk, and wish me luck that I can handle the fasting part, that I can handle then the beef, salt, and water, because I know that this is my last chance, or I have to go the path with medication. That's the only thing that is left for me. If I cannot manage for the whole August and then September as well, just to be that strict, that I have to go to the medications part, then I don't have an out. And I was just a weak person. My personality is not strong enough to take that, and I hope it's not. Yeah. Just a message. So, good. So I hope everybody who's believing in God, send him a little message that I shouldn't be stupid and that I can make it. So, and I hope you guys are doing well, and let me know how you're doing, and I will respond also to the emails and the messages as soon as I get myself collected. It takes a little bit of time. The informations that are overflowing me is just a lot to handle right now. So, but I'm getting better. I hope you see that. And I'm so thankful that you all are with me here. And yeah, see you hopefully tomorrow when I can access a little bit of space here.